Okay, so this is it. The magic 3-digit credit score. As a tenant, all you need to do is raise your credit score and you'll be good, right? You'll be able to rent wherever, whatever. Well, it doesn't really work that way, but we are going to offer some helpful information and, at least for a limited time, we're going to open up the comments for this video. So, let's get to it. This episode of American Landlord is brought to you by RealSerious.com, where landlords of all sizes can screen their tenants 24 hours a day the easy way. Alright, first, let's be honest. The credit scoring algorithms used for tenant screening are so flawed that no landlord should ever solely look at a prospective tenant's credit score. It's true. We could do an entire video on explaining why. But the reality is that property management companies and private landlords ignore that advice and often fixate on an applicant's credit score. So for the purposes of this video, even though that credit score shouldn't be as important as they make it out to be, we will tell you the very simple steps to take to raise your credit score. Because in addition to tenant screening, credit scoring is unfortunately woven deep into the fabric of a U.S. consumer's clothing. This means, regardless if you want to finance a car, house, that new golf cart equipped with the extra battery for the subwoofer, yeah, that one, or the bottomless pit they call a boat, then you're going to need to achieve a certain credit score to not only qualify for the loan, but to make your financing terms more affordable. Because what's the point of getting approved if you discover 6 months out at sea, you and your boat are sinking? So grab a pencil and write this down. Annualcreditreport.com. What's that? That is where you begin. It's the official website for the FACT Act, which was the law passed several years ago that allows for consumers to receive a free copy of all 3 major credit reports. That includes Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You're allowed to do this at least once a year, but right now, they're actually allowing you to do it weekly because of the coronavirus pandemic. So when you visit the site, it's an entirely online process that just takes a few minutes. Now, your reports won't come with a score, but don't worry about that. There's no need to be coaxed into paying for a score. Why? Because you have no idea which algorithm the finance company that you choose is going to use to determine your eligibility. There are literally dozens of different credit scoring algorithms. Okay, so now you've got your reports. The single greatest factor that affects your credit is your use of a credit card. Not a bank debit card, but an actual revolving account. A revolving account is one that does exactly as it says. It revolves. As you use it, less becomes available, and as you pay it down, more becomes available. If you want to cause your score to jump, you'd have to pay down as much of your credit cards as possible. You'd start first with the smallest balance and then pay that off, and keep it paid off. Then you move on to the next one. Why keep it paid off? Because having a revolving account with a 0 balance has its own separate credit scoring reward. This doesn't mean you can't ever use it. You certainly can, but it should be paid off before the next statement prints. So what do you do if you do not have any credit cards? Well, we're not saying you should run out and apply for one, because it's technically not a requirement to generate a credit score since you can just have loans and other obligations. But they do have the single greatest impact on the credit scoring algorithm. Plus, if you ever want to apply for a mortgage, you're going to need to have a few open accounts anyway. So if you don't have one, it may be worth considering. Now, since credit cards can affect your credit score so much, That means you never want to be late on one. If you are, don't sweat it. Just don't do it again. Time heals all credit. It's really a cool and simple concept to grasp. Any derogatory payment data beyond 4 years does not have much of an impact, if at all, on your credit score. And once that information exceeds 7 years, it will automatically be removed. Should any information still remain on file, which is a very rare occurrence, then you can simply dispute it right online at annualcreditreport.com. But what about collection accounts? Collection accounts are nothing to worry about most of the time. Just make sure they don't happen again. Time will also heal or remove them as well after 7 years. However, if it's a more recent obligation within the past 2 years and you want it gone, then you'll have to reach out to the collection agency and see if they would be willing to accept a lump sum payment in exchange for removing the account, not simply marking it as paid, but removing it entirely from your file. If not, then be patient. It will eventually disappear, and as time moves on, its impact on your credit score lessens. It's not rocket science. Well, actually, the algorithms are pretty comparable in math, but the basics to increase your credit score are very simple. Now for some final remarks. As a tenant, you never want your utility bills to go into collections. Landlords don't like to see unpaid housing obligations. So manage your money, work with a cash budget, and only use credit cards sparingly. And if you know you're going to be applying for something, anything, including that neon tricked out golf cart with the 12-inch speakers, make sure you pay down as much of your credit cards at least 2 to 3 months in advance to ensure your credit file has been updated in time, because there's a considerable lag when reporting to the credit bureaus. It's not done in real time. So be prepared. Otherwise, you could be paying a lot more for your financing. Oh, we almost forgot. There are a lot of organizations out there, including attorneys, that are offering credit repair services. The fact is that the majority of information on your credit file can be handled by yourself. Like we said, it's not rocket science. But should you feel uncomfortable about handling it, well then by all means you can consult with an attorney. But for now, should you discover something on your file that you're not familiar with, you're just not sure about it, is it yours? Is it accurate? Well then dispute it. It's your right. And just remember, don't ever sweat it, because time will heal your credit. We hope this video helped.